Hello, this video is for IXL Activity A1.F.1. It is titled Perimeter, and the 3-character code for this activity is 6 November Charlie. So perimeter. First, let's talk about what is perimeter. Well, perimeter is the distance around the outside of a figure. So whatever the distance is along all 4 of the sides of this square here is known as the perimeter. So whether it's a square, triangle, rectangle, parallelogram, etc. We're going to be looking at many of those, and we're basically wanting to know what's the distance around the outside. Well, there's a formula for each one of these, and for a square, the formula for a perimeter is equal to S times 4. So actually, I guess I should put the 4 there first. So it's equal to 4S. And the reason for this is, well, a square, by definition, all 4 sides of a square have the same length. So in this case, all 4 sides are the same length. Well, if they're giving us the value of 2 here, then we can plug in the value of 2 into the formula, 4 times 2. And in this case, the perimeter would be equal to 8. So it is 8 miles. And notice the label here. You just need to enter in the numerical value for each of these questions in this activity. So perimeter for a square is 4S. What's the perimeter of a parallelogram? Well, one thing we know about a parallelogram is that the opposite sides are parallel. It means that this is parallel to this, and this side here is parallel to this side here. But what we also know about parallelograms is that their opposite sides are equal to one another. So if this side is 14, then the opposite side is 14. And if this side up here is 9, then its opposite side is 9 as well. So in order to find the perimeter of this parallelogram, there's a couple ways we could do it. We could just say the perimeter is equal to the sum of all the sides, right? So we could start at the top here and say 9 plus 14 plus 9 plus 14 again. But you'll see that we're I think this is the long way to do it, right? I kind of like the idea of having the perimeter for this being one side length. If we call one side A, and we call the other side B, and then multiply that times 2. I guess another way to write this would be the perimeter is equal to, go back, there we go. I like the 2 out here in front of the quantity A plus B. So let's do it that way, all right? So let's plug in our values. Perimeter equals 2 times the quantity of 9 plus 14. 9 plus 14 was at 23. And now if we multiply 23 by 2, we would get 46. So in this case, the perimeter is 46 inches. Here, find the value of Z. Well, this happens to be a trapezoid. We have a base down here of 15. And we have the second base up here of 9. And then we have the opposite sides, and notice that both these have a value of Z. So we could realize that the perimeter would be equal to, in this case, 9 plus 15 plus 2 times the quantity of Z, because we just need to double Z, right? 2Z. So they give us the perimeter here. So let's plug in what we do know. We know that the perimeter is 58. So we'll plug in 58 equals, let's go ahead and do that 9 plus 15 to get, 24, right? And then plus 2 times Z, or we'll just call that 2Z. No need to, and we'll put a cross on that Z so we recognize that's a Z. Now we need to get, basically this is a 2-step equation, right? We need to get this 24 over to the other side. So if we go ahead and subtract 24 from each side, 58, clear, 58 minus 24, it's going to give us 34 on the left. And we still have 2Z on the right. Now we need to divide both sides by 2 to isolate the variable Z. The 2's would cancel each other, leaving us with just Z on the right. And 34 divided by 2 is going to give us a total of 17. So we know it's 17 meters. So Z is equal to 17. Now we could actually go and check our answer. We could do 9 plus 17 plus 15 plus 17, and indeed that gives me 58. So if I add all the sides together, I would get 58 again, so I know I have the correct answer of 17. Look at the square, find the value of z. They tell us that the perimeter is 28 meters. Remember, perimeter for a square is equal to 4 times s. Well, let's go ahead and plug in what we know. We know that the perimeter is 28, so let's go ahead and put in 28 equals 4s. Now, to isolate the variable s, which represents the side length, we need to divide by 4. What we do to one side, we're going to do to the other. 4 is going to cancel each other, leaving us with s on the right, and 28 divided by 4 is 7. So we know that the value of z is 7, and then if you kind of realize that, okay, so that means that all 4 sides are worth 7. So 7 times 4 is that 28? Indeed it is, so we know our math is correct. Here, find the value of y. Well, for a triangle, there's not really a formula for a triangle, kind of like sides and rectangles and parallelograms and so forth. We just have to realize that the sum of all the sides is equal to the perimeter. So in this case, we'll say that perimeter is equal to, and I guess we could call it this a formula of a plus b plus c, where a, b, and c are all a side length. So a, b, and c. Now many people would just add 13 plus 78, subtract that sum from the 31.2, which is basically what we're going to end up doing. So we do know that the perimeter is 31.2, so let's put 31.2 here for perimeter. Side A is unknown, plus side B is 7.8, plus side C is 13. So let's do a 31.2 equals A plus, now let's do 7.8 plus 13, which is going to be what, 20.8? 20.8. Now let's subtract 20.8 from each side, which is exactly what would have happened if you added those two together and then subtracted from 31.2. So 31.2, and we're going to subtract from that 20.8, and that's going to give us a difference of 10.4. So side A is equal to 10.4. 10.4, which side A is also the value of y. Look at the rectangle, find the value of z. So perimeter for a rectangle, perimeter is equal to 2 times the quantity of a plus b, where a is the short side and b is the long side. So let's plug in what we know. They tell us the perimeter is 20, so we'll plug in 20 for the perimeter. 2 times the quantity of, in this case, a is 3 and plus b is unknown. So here we're going to use the distributive property to simplify this side. So let's go ahead and bring our 20 here. 2 times 3 equals 6, and 2 times b is 2 times b, which is 2b. Now let's subtract 6 from each side. What is that, 14? Right? And that leaves us 2b here. Now let's go ahead and divide each side by 2 to isolate the variable b. And 14 divided by 2 is 7, and we'd have the b remaining on the right, so b equals 7, which in actually z equals 7. B and z, same difference. Then they take the pictures away. So a triangle has a perimeter of 44.1. I'm concentrating on drawing a triangle. So a lot of times if they give you just a word problem, sometimes it's helpful to draw it out. So it has a perimeter. Its perimeter is equal to 44.1. We know that, right? So two sides measure 14.7 and 14.7. So one side's 14.7. The other side is 14.7. And this is what we don't know. What is the length of the third side? Well, chances are someone's going to add those together and just do 14.7 times 2, right? That'd be the same as adding them together. And we would get 29.4. So 14.7 times 2 equals 29.4. We know that the entire perimeter is 44.1, so now we're going to take 44.1, subtract from it the sum of the two sides we do have, which is 29.4. So 44.1 minus the 29.4 is going to give us, oh, imagine that, it's going to be 14.7. So all three sides are 14.7 meters. Square has side lengths of 11 meters, so if it helps, draw a square. I'm not saying this is going to be a perfect square. It looks more like a rectangle, but at any rate, and it has a side length of 11 meters. What is its perimeter? Remember, perimeter for a square is 4s, so let's just go ahead and plug in 11 for s, the length of a side. So perimeter is going to equal 44. So 44, in this case, millimeters. Looking at the next question, parallelogram has a perimeter of 20 feet. Two of the sides are 4 feet long. What is the length of each of the other two sides? So parallelogram, let's go ahead and draw a parallelogram here. Do the best I can on this. Something like that. But what we know about a parallelogram, remember, think back to earlier question, we know that the opposite sides are equal length to one another. So two of the sides are 4 feet. Now I'm going to guess that if it's 20 feet, the 4-foot ones are probably the shorter sides. So if two of the sides are 4 feet, and those are the opposite sides, right? What is the length of each of the other sides? So let's see. Perimeter. Having a hard time remembering the P word. Perimeter of a parallelogram is equal to 2 times A plus B, where A is the short side, B is the long side. So let's go with P equals 2 times, we know the short side, we're assuming it's the short side. Either one would work. All right? But wait a second, we have the perimeter. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute in 20. They tell us perimeter is 20. So now I'm going to do 20 equals, let's distribute the 2 into the quantity of 4 plus b. 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 times b is 2b. Now let's go ahead and subtract 8 from each side. That should give us 12 equals 2b. And now the next step is to go ahead and divide both sides by 2. 2's cancel each other, leaving b on the right, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So in this case, each of these sides are 6. We can always go back and double check our answer. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 4 is 16, plus 4 more is 20. So indeed, 6 is the correct answer. Next, we need to find the perimeter. Write your answer as a fraction, or as a whole number, or as a mixed number. So we're going to have to do some fractions here. Well, we notice that all 4 lengths are the exact same. So we could do 4 sevenths plus 4 sevenths plus 4 sevenths plus 4 sevenths. Or we could just multiply 4 sevenths times 4, right? Same value being added over and over again. So let's take 4 sevenths. Let's multiply it times 4. I'm going to go ahead and write 4 as a fraction. So I can do fraction times fraction. 4 times 4 is 16. And 7 times 1 is 7. So 16 over 7 is the perimeter. However, this is an improper fraction. And our answer has to be as a fraction, a whole number, or a mixed number. So let's turn this improper fraction into a proper fraction. 7 will go into 16 twice, right? 7 times 2 is 14. That'll leave a remainder of 2. That becomes our numerator, and our denominator stays the same. So 2 and 2 sevenths is the perimeter for this parallelogram. That's actually a rhombus, to tell you the truth. All 4 sides are equal, so it's actually a rhombus, which a rhombus is also a parallelogram. Find the perimeter. Write your answer as a fraction, or a whole number, or a mixed number. So on this one here, we basically see that all the sides are the same length. The question is, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, I believe. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sides. So we want 4 1/14 times 10. Well, let's go ahead and turn this mixed number into an improper fraction, which, oh gee, do I really want to do it that way? Yeah, I could. There's a few other ways I could think of this. I could use distributive property and whatever. But let's go ahead and turn that into a improper fraction. All right, so clear that. And I have to do 14 times 4 is going to give me 56 and add 1. So that's going to be 57 over 14. All right, that's 14 times 4 is 56 plus 1 is 57. Denominator stays the same. And I want to multiply that times 10. I'm going to make 10 as a fraction. Now I notice that 10 and 14 both share a common factor of 2, so I'm going to factor that 2 out of there. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So I think that's all the simplification I can do there. So now let's do 57 times 5 for the numerator is 285. And 7 times 1 is 7. Now this is an improper fraction. So how many times does 7 go into 285? So 285 divided by 7 is going to be 40 point something. So it will go in 40 times. Now let's do 40 times 7. Back to the denominator. That's going to give me, what, 280? Right? Now the difference of 285 and 280 is 5, so that means that we would have had 5 as a remainder. The denominator stays the same, so it would be 40 and 5/7. Vince's math certificate is 7 inches tall, 10 inches wide. Vince wants to put the certificate in a fancy frame that costs $3.20 per inch. How much will it cost to frame Vince's math certificate? So the idea is you need to know the perimeter, how many inches the perimeter is, and then we're going to multiply it times the dollar amount. So it is, he has a certificate. Let's go ahead and draw out his certificate here. If they give you a word problem, draw a picture, right? So it's 7 inches tall, 10 inches wide. So we're going to go ahead and, for perimeter, this is equal to 2 times the quantity of the sides, so 7 plus 10. So we're going to have P equals 2 times 17. So perimeter is going to equal, what is that, 34? Yep, 34. So now we know the perimeter is 34 inches, and it's $3.20 per inch. So we now need to do 34 for the perimeter. We're going to multiply that times the $3.20. So 34 times $3.20 is going to give us $108.80. 108.80. And for IXL, since it's money, be sure to put that 0 on there. If you put just 0.8, it will count it as incorrect. Paula's dining room is 5 meters wide, 6 meters long. So let's draw out our dining room. It's almost a square, isn't it? Pretty close to square. So side lengths are almost the same. So it's 5 meters wide and 6 meters long. She wants to install wood trim around the top of the room. The trim costs $7.16 per meter. How much will it cost to buy enough trim? So again, we're going to do perimeter equals 2 times the side lengths of 5 and 6. So perimeter equals 2 times, and 5 plus 6 is 11. And so therefore perimeter equals 22. So we know that's 22, what, feet is it? Oh, meters. Yeah, I was going to say that would be a small room. 22 meters all the way around. It's $7.16 a meter. So let's do 22 times $7.16. So $7.16 times 22 gives us a total of 157.52. 157.52. On the next one, we have which figure has the greater perimeter. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So we need to do 6 times 3.4 over here. And over here we need to do 7.6 plus 10.7 plus 7.6. We're just adding all the side lengths together. First, let's do the 6 times 3.4, and that's going to give us 20.4. And then over here, we have 7.6 plus 7.6 plus 10.7. That's going to give us 25.9. And they want to know which one has the greater perimeter. It's going to be the second choice here because 25.9 is greater than 20.4. Next one, we need to, over here on the square, that's pretty easy, right? 13.3 times 4. So let's go and do that. 13.3, and we're going to multiply that times 4. And that's going to give us 53.2. Now over here, we have 14.3. So we're going to do 14.3, and we'll multiply that times 2. So I did 14.3, and I multiplied it times 2. I'm going to add to that 16.4. So let's do plus 16.4. And then I'm also going to add 14.8. So let's go plus 14.8. And my grand total is going to be 59.8. So my correct answer is the first choice. And final question, this one here, you really don't even have to think about this one too much, right? Let's see, do they both have the same number of sides? That's the important thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they both have 8 sides. The one on the left has side lengths of 48.3. The one on the right has side lengths of 46.2. Well, 48.3 is greater than 46.2. So whenever we multiply each number by 8, it's obvious that the first choice is going to produce a greater value. So it has the greater perimeter. All right, so those are all of my examples for IXL A1.F.1 Perimeter. Good luck with your activity.